Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining the Outlook 2024. We'll start right away, and I'd like to invite the president of the association, Mr. Deba Jomo, to give us his welcome speech.
Dear esteemed members, stakeholders, and distinguished guests, good afternoon once more. As we gather virtually for the fifth edition of Fintech Outlook 2024, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you, champions of the fintech ecosystem. Today marks a momentous occasion as we collectively set the stage for the financial technology landscape for 2024. Looking back briefly into 2023, the total capital invested in fintech globally reached about $51 billion, which is a big decrease of some 48% from 2022. Africa too witnessed a decline with 3.9 billion in 2023, about 36% decrease from 2022. And closer home in Nigeria, the undisputed heart of African fintech, we attracted about $400 million in verified funding, which again is the lowest in recent years. It was clear that the economic downturn has cast a shadow and regulatory uncertainties loomed in some corners, as we saw in the cases of FTX and Binance. But even amongst the midst of these challenges, the fintech community displayed remarkable resilience. We pivoted, we adapted and innovated our way through, proving once again that agility is the lifeblood of our industry. We also saw the faith manifest in everyday experiences with fintech stepping in to address the Naira shortage in early 2023 and witnessed in it the proliferation of digital wallets across banks, fintechs, and the wider ecosystem, mobile money providers, empowering millions with agency over their finances. And we saw technology startups in other areas, good traction in agri-tech, health tech, and insurtech, to name a few. As we gaze into 2024, the horizon is teeming with possibilities. We expect further advancements in AI and machine learning, shaping personalized financial experiences and broad application of the broad world of fintech into agri-tech, regtech, and beyond. We can anticipate deeper integration with Web3 and the metaverse, pushing the boundaries of financial interaction. The possibilities of creativity, innovation, and leadership in digital assets, leveraging blockchain technology is exciting with the new regulatory disposition. And most importantly, we can strive for even greater strides in digital inclusion, bridging the gap and ensuring that everyone everywhere has access to the tools and services they need to thrive while raising the bar in cybersecurity. At Fintech Association of Nigeria, our membership now stands at 464, spanning an impressive 23 sectors. And this speaks volumes about our expanding influence and the trust placed in us by the ecosystem to connect, advocate, and accelerate the development of fintechs in Nigeria. These diversities are strength, showcasing our unwavering commitment to foster a holistic and inclusive fintech environment. In 2024, we will continue to support the ecosystem with our various engagement of regulators, industry shapers, drive apt initiatives, and of course, provide a platform for our fintechs to grow at local and international levels. Also expect the Nigeria FinTech Week 2024 to lift the bar higher in every respect. Now, let's turn our attention to the exciting program we have in store for the fifth edition today. Brace yourselves for a packed agenda featuring some of the best minds in the industry who will be providing us with insightful sessions that will delve into the trends and forecasts that will shape the fintech ecosystem in 2024. We have curated a lineup of exceptional speakers, industry leaders, thought leaders, and visionaries who will share their expertise and perspectives. I encourage you to stay glued to your devices as these sessions promise not only to be informative, but transformative. Let me express our profound gratitude to our governing council members, our strategic sponsors, our board of trustees, and of course, the management and staff of FinTech NGR. all of whom continue to dedicate enormous time and resources, some at their own personal expense, to the development of this ecosystem. And special thanks to you all, our esteemed members, whose trust and active participation propel our success. Together, let's embrace 2024 with a spirit of collaboration, resilience, and innovation. And may this year be remarkable for the growth of fintechs in Nigeria and beyond. Enjoy the session and looking forward to catching up with you at some point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Presido. We call him Presido, Mr. Bajomo. Thank you so much for that. And welcome to all our members, our partners. And today we are going to sort of, like Mr. Bajomo has said, try and discuss and, look into what we saw retrospectively and what we are thinking about for this year. I wanted to confirm we are supposed to have a next speaker. Sean, is he on?
Yes, she is.
Okay. So we would be. I mean, the president has set the tone for today's discussion, and we would be going straight into our discussions. Miss, I think this is ladies first. We're going to have an outlook on the payments systems for the sector this morning, and we have with us Chinwe Ozoho, the Regional Managing Director, West Africa and Central Africa for Network in International Payment Systems. She is a renowned industry leader in digital product innovation and strategy, with over 3 decades of executive leadership in digital payment solutions, product innovation, and the retail banking. She's recognized as a thought leader and a board member in the banking sector. Please, can we have Ms. Chinwe welcome you to this forum? You would be speaking for about 7 minutes, and then we'll go through the first pool of outlooks before we have our question and answers. Should you have any questions, please can you, let's keep it at, type it into the chats so that we can take as many questions as we can. Chinwe, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Yemi, and thank you, Ade, for making such an impressive intro. You've said everything I needed to say. And I also welcome everybody here. Happy New Year to all the members, all the stakeholders. And I wish you all a very beautiful 2024. So I'm just going to be speaking for 7 minutes, and I'm just going to take us through, in brief, what happened in 2023, what we saw, and what is expected to happen in 2024 with respect to the fintech landscape. As we all know, COVID brought in, well, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So many things in terms of digital transformation started happening during COVID and after COVID. What this has done is that it has helped to give us the springboard for so many of the digital rails to manifest. For example, there has been increase in digital payments and wallets, open banking discussion, artificial intelligence, financial inclusion, and of course, regulatory technology. Some of these things started happening, although they have been in discussion all this while, but with COVID, we now knew that we had to bring it we have to bring it to the front burner. And these were some of the things that helped to shape the digital global outlook for the financial sector in 2023. So talking about briefly the global overview of fintech in 2023, like I mentioned, the digital payments and wallets, of course, we have seen an increase in the number of digital payments and wallets, not only in Nigeria, not only in Africa, but all over the world, because people have now accepted that you can make payments through your wallet and through other digital payment rails. I mean, cash is now reduced. For us in Nigeria, we saw what happened during the change of currency. People were now forced to understand that they have to go and use other forms of payment. Of course, open banking, the discussion have increased, in such a way that the financial sectors are now coming together to share data, which will encourage interoperability between, different financial sectors and also third-party providers. Today, we talk about AI, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and all those things. These are some of the things that have happened in 2023 that have also helped to shape the fintech landscape. And of course, regulatory technology. There has been an growing importance in regulatory technology solutions in terms of how it can help for risk management, fraud analytics, etc. Of course, we can't stop talking about financial inclusion, especially for those of us in Africa. We know that in as much as we have had increase in the financial sector, we still have a lot to do with respect to financial inclusion. So going into 2024, this I just wanted to mention in brief some of the things that have happened in 2023. I just have 7 minutes. I'm very mindful of my time. So what are the key drivers for us in 2024? We're going to be talking about, intelligent automation, which will bring in new opportunities in the financial sector. The companies will be able to deliver faster and in a more cost-efficient manner. And of course, services will be delivered more accurately. This will lead to increase in speed, enhanced quality control, and also improvement in the quality of services. And we're also going to be talking about generative AI in fintech. As we know, we cannot talk about fintech without bringing in the importance of AI, because this is where the world is going to, and this is what is going to help us to be able to, bring everything together. Unlike before, all these things were done in silos, there was no place where people could actually come together to say, look, this is what we are going to do in terms of improving the financial landscape. Even looking at Nigeria, the number of fintechs that we have today have increased. Fintech has become a buzzword. Everybody's talking about fintech. Everybody's saying fintech this, fintech that. That means that there is increased awareness in the things that we can do leveraging on financial technology. Of course, there's also going to be blockchain integration. Blockchain integration is not a new thing, but it will still continue to grow and it will become an integral part of the fintech products. And we're going to be looking at big data and how does it affect analytics. We know that big data comes with the 3 V's: increase in volume, velocity, and of course, variety of the data that it carries. So these are some of the things that we help to change the landscape in 2024. So, but looking at it in a prospective way, for financial technology sector in 2024, I'm just going to put it into these 3 buckets: rapid transformation by adopting intelligent automation, AI-powered advisory, and asset management. These are some of the trends that will come into play in 2024. Also, at the same time, past fintech trends such as blockchain integration and use of big data analytics will be embedded into the banking and the new banking sector, which will continue to evolve and grow over time. The second one is the technology aspect of the fintech industry, which of course is already, like I said, experiencing a rapid evolution. Everywhere, everybody's talking about fintech, everybody's thinking outside the box, looking at ways that they can leverage on various technologies, such as AI, machine learning, intelligent automation, data analytics, and much more, to be able to create opportunities for the financial sector. And the third one will be that the fintech will continue to maintain its role as a very critical driver for the future. We are all seated here today talking about fintech. In the past 3-4 years, it wasn't like this. But today it has become very important, and it will still be critical to the development of the financial sector, especially in Africa and even Nigeria. I mean, you've seen in the past couple of months, there's been a lot of things going on in the financial sector. The central bank trying to ensure that they clean up, they bring in proper regulatory metrics on how things should be done in the industry, and also to sanitize the kind of fintechs that we have. So these are some of the things that will continue to evolve as we go into 2024. And of course, there's going to be an alignment, which I know is going to happen very soon, on various fintechs. Now we have, pockets of fintechs here and there. Some are doing the same thing. Some are not even optimizing the opportunities that they have. So going into 2024, I'm very certain that we're going to see more alignment and collaboration in fintech. Like they say, collaboration is the new way of success in business. You cannot succeed if you don't collaborate, and what are going to be the possible impacts of all this? So, like we all know, for every positive impact, there will always be a negative, impact of that. But in all, it all depends on how you're able to handle it. So when we talk about advanced fraud detection with the help of machine learning, we know that the fraudsters are not sleeping. They are even coming up with more technical ways of having to beat all this. So today, even I think it was this week, we have seen that some of the commercial banks already are going into full-fledged consumer banking lending sector. So how are they going to do this? Of course, that means that they have to bring in, advanced fraud detection. They're going to bring in AI. They're going to bring in machine learning. They're going to use big data to ensure that they are able to serve the retail end of the market. Today, lending especially is improving in Nigeria. Why? Because of fintech. So people can actually, in less than a second, get that loan through their digital payment wallet, or through their banks, or even through the fintech. So there's been a lot of improvement. Of course, again, these things have to do with behavioral analysis. Talking about fintech, most times we know fintechs are here to serve the retail end of the market. And for you to serve appropriately, you must understand the behavior of the people you tend to serve. If you don't understand the behavior, you'll probably be bringing out the wrong product. So behavioral analysis is also one of the things that will determine how we go about, serving clients in 2024. Biometric authentication. Is my time up?
Yeah, sort of. And you sort of used at least 1 more minute, but yeah, you can round up.
Okay, 1 more minute.
You can round up.
So
yeah.
Okay, so let me just round up. This is my last slide. So looking at what we must do, in 2024 as players in the industry, we must embrace technology innovation, enhance our cybersecurity measures, customer-centric approach, compliance with regulation, more open banking initiative, scalable infrastructure, global expansion and market entry, data analytics, and of course, partnership and collaboration, which I talked about, and effective marketing and branding. I think my time is up, but I guess I was able to just wrap everything up.
Brush through everything. Thank you so very much, Chinwe. Thank you very much for sharing your perspective. At least you had the time to look through everything, and I'm sure people would have been doing screenshots of your slides. Although I think we're going to be sharing it. So key things to note that you actually brought out for 2023, looking in retrospect, you talked about how we looked at alternative finance. During the cash crunch, the number of people that started to use cryptocurrency as an alternative source of means of payments increased during that time. You brought our attention into what we should expect in 2024. Intelligent automation, specifically stating that there will be more accuracy and turnaround time for services that are going to be provided in the sector. We talked about generative AI, blockchain, big data, and the importance of how the parties need to try and analyze customer behavioral analysis of clients and customers, and more importantly, that a lot of fintechs would be looking at doing what we call collaboration and partnerships. What's also critical is the issue of cybersecurity. So thank you very much, Chinwe, for all of those points that you have shared. We have some questions for you, but I think we will take that holistic at the end of the entire session. Or do we? Let me do something. So that it's fresh in our minds. Maybe we take one or two questions per speaker. So in the chat, Chinwe, what the question we have from Chigozie is, what are the possible legal issues that could arise from AI biases in 2024? How can fintech companies and banks prevent a decrease in their profits due to settling court cases caused by artificial intelligence? If you want to brush by that, and then maybe somewhere along the line, the gentleman from Olaniwa Ajayi would also attempt to take this question. But if you want to, just give us your view.
Okay, so like rightly said, there are a lot of things that could cause legal issues, and some of them could be as a result of data leakages, misrepresentation of information, and using AI tools without the permission of the unintended user. These things will always happen, especially when you're talking about usage of data. You begin to ask yourself, where do you draw the line? So to start with, you must know where your source of data, how you represent the data, and how you analyze the data. Because part of the issues, again, is most of the data we have, they are not well refined, especially in Africa, where you have mismatch of information, identity crisis, so you find my name is Chinwe Ozoho. There are 1 million people with Chinwe Ozoho, So even in the bank, some of this information, they are not rightly, represented in such a way that there will not be any crisis. So this will happen, right? But for us to minimize, some of these legal issues that might arise as a result of misrepresentation of data, leakages of data and everything, it has to be from the source, how you collect the data, how you store it, how you analyze it, and how you represent it. So that has to come from the source. You see what is happening now with respect to biometrics and NIN. Most people here must have gotten text messages to say your NIN was not updated. And I know when this started, we all went to update our NIN. So these are some of the things that could lead to legal issues, So we have to start from source, representing, documentation, analyzing, and usage of this data to be sure that, we minimize legal issues that could arise from usage of data and sharing of data within this space. I'm not a lawyer.
Thank you very much. I know that's why
coming from the fintech aspect, but I'm not a lawyer to give you the legal perspective. So
yeah, but you're quite right. You're quite right, actually. You're quite right, actually. I mean, these are some of the things that we need to pay attention to when we start to use AI, because it's really based on the kind of data that you put into the machine to learn. Yeah, thank you so much for giving us that outlook in terms of payment. Now we are going to go. I mean, you talked about open banking. Um, um, Ade mentioned how there was reduction in funding for the fintech sector over the years. So I'm going to just briefly introduce Olayinka Oni, who will be sharing his outlook and giving us a snippet into what we should be looking for from the banking sector in 2024. He is the executive director at Sterling Financial Holdings Company and the former chief digital officer at Sterling Bank. He also played a critical role in lending the bank's digital strategy and fostering market digital innovations in digital banking. He has also been a core to a lot of the policies that the central bank has been issuing out with regards to digital currencies, blockchain, and things like that. So, would like to hear from him today so that he can give us, his own perspective of what he saw last year. Just a retrospect, and then share with us the tricks and trends that you see for 2024. Over to you, Yinka.
Thank you, Yemi. And afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to definitely be here as we all try to play some godlike role, trying to think we have a right to predict what's going to happen in the year ahead of us. But that's also what makes it fun. We'll see how many of what we say actually then come to fruition. But obviously, casting our mind back to the year that has just gone past, we would all agree was, by all intents and purposes, a very challenging year. It was an election year in Nigeria, and like all election year in Nigeria, it came with all its uncertainties, whether it's from a political standpoint, not knowing necessarily how things were going to end. I mean, there are probably people who thought, oh, maybe this is it, maybe we're going to break up, not knowing where that all will land, as it were. It's also interesting that Chinwe mentioned COVID. COVID seemed to just continue to live with us, so to speak. We're all here doing this virtual meeting. If it was some years before, definitely we'll be gathered physically trying to do this meeting. But hey, we can do this all that very easily, as it were. But it has all implications on whether or not the challenge we have about talents, which continues to be a major problem for virtually everybody in the sector. And obviously, the fact that talent today would first tell you the first thing is this job remote or is it hybrid? Because really and truly, not many people want a full on-prem. All of that is there. From an economic standpoint, we see inflation reach almost about 30%, I think about 28 point something percent in December. So it was challenging economically. And the policies have obviously been trying everything to tame that, call it inflation challenge that we have. We also had in that same year, just as the new administration came on board, call it liberalization of the FX regime, which obviously had also not necessarily achieved fully what it is that we want in terms of taming the FX, because the FX gap continued to be real and is there. There was also the issue of fuel subsidy that was reduced, which just again accelerated the issue of inflation in the economy, as it were. Oil revenues have not necessarily been at their best because production has also not been at their best. We're trying to augment some of that with reforms we're doing in tax. A couple of that happened last year. And obviously, it also has implication on cost of running business because of some of those introduction, as it were. From a key highlights regulatory standpoint, there were policies or exposure drafts in March, basically the final one, I would say, about the operational guidelines for the open banking in Nigeria. There was an exposure draft around the agency regulatory framework for agency banking in Nigeria about March of last year. There was about December, some policy changes that started to soften the position around digital currency and what that is going to be going forward. There were some court injunction about us being able to continue to use both the old and the new currency, which was kind of addressing the initial challenge of the cash crunch in the first half of the year. And obviously, good thing about what that has done to our ecosystem in terms of adoption. On the flip side, we also think that there is a lot of people who seem to trust cash in some fund, and there's some hoarding of cash. So there's that divide of what exactly is the full implication of what has happened in that regard. But I think generally there's a lot of emphasis on digital transformation, financial inclusion, just like Chinwe had mentioned. I think that's really a bit about 2023. Looking forward in 2024, I expect that the monetary environment will continue to tighten as we try to kind of keep a tab on inflation. I think that the FX gap will continue to be there for some time. So potentially the Naira may still take a bit of a beating, as it were. I think that obviously that there would be challenge with the quality of assets, so because inflation and all of that is affecting disposable income, so quality of loans may somewhat be challenged, even though I still think that there's still a huge gap in the lending space in Nigeria. So there's still so much of an opportunity and headroom to grow in the lending space, as it were. I think that the changing position around digital currency would present new opportunities in 2024 as we see the regulator unveil the implication of that from an operational framework standpoint. I think that that would start to change in that regard. I also expect that there will be more accelerated use of, almost like using the old GSI framework to productize, to be able to accelerate lending in some form of shape. Fraud is a major center. I think we've all eaten our breakfasts and we've all been beaten very well. I like the fact that we all now have a renewed effort to collaborate to solve the fraud issue. And I think that there is a couple of things that this even community itself is doing to come together to address fraud. But I kind of almost want to say that we need to get to level of almost a CIA level type of wanting to hack what the problem of fraud is, because it's eating definitely into our launch extensively. I think that we would see a lot more openness and desire to collaborate as banks, for example, seek to create rails that allows them to co-create with fintech. Of course, on the back of more solidified KYC and governance that must be automated. We've seen obviously all the conversation around renew KYC requirement, even to the first tier of account. So I expect that there will be more, call it automation, that would start to drive that. And maybe technologies like what Chinwe has mentioned would start to play either from a behavioral standpoint to address that whole thing. I think there will be a lot more focus around experience to be able to drive retention, because the customer is a lot more savvy and also has more option, as it were. Reliability would become a major currency to win and to compete, because obviously you then have to have a reliable platform to be able to ensure that you can keep people on. It's been cold and winter around fundraising. but it's not just about fundraising, but generally about the way the whole FX gap is. And this just brings to the center the need to be more frugal. So I think a lot more people will drive cost management from a, call it technology automation standpoint, or even looking for alternative technologies that may necessarily not be proprietary and something that will be cheaper, anything that basically also offer some FX substitution of some sort. I think would also be something that people will start to pay a lot of attention on to ensure that you can basically weather the storm that is out here, as it were. And I think that all said and done, I think that there will be a lot more innovation and creativity that will still happen. And I expect that by the end of 2024, either things like we started to see around direct debit and what that means for the ecosystem also, or even things to do with strengthening our virtual account play. I think that all of that will come to the front and center in 2024. So I'm more upbeat about what is possible around innovation, but obviously also cautious about what it is that would mean for security and fraud incidences and how we all need to kind of solve this problem together.
Wow, thank you. Were you looking at your time? Because this was just max 7 minutes. Thank you very much, Yinka. I mean, this gives another perspective of what the sector needs to be vigilant about, to sort of summarize what you said was that like in 2023 you looked at the economic factors which were, if we look back, we really are a resilient people, because if somehow or the other we've forgotten about the elections. We've forgotten about COVID. We're just going through every single thing. You talked about talent issues. We talked about inflation, 28% as at the end of the year. The foreign exchange issues are here, and they are still consistent within our daily lives. I mean, everybody just uses that as a basis indices to measure how well they are, either making their returns on their investment, or whether they really are actually worth what they think they are worth. We talked about the tax reforms, which are ongoing, and we are all sort of looking forward to the implementation of those reforms. And then, of course, the regulatory policies that came out on open government, agency banking, digital currencies, the use of old and new currencies, and also the habits that came out, like the hoarding of cash. And of course, the fact that digital transformation is no longer a hard sell. People are becoming more and more aware that they need to have do a lot in terms of transforming their business digitally. And being the soothsayer that you are, you also give us some trends that you see that are coming in 2024. The monitoring environment and how it will affect us. The FX gap that is ongoing, and we hope that by the end of this year, it will start, inching backwards, and then it would actually stabilize based on all of the policies. You also mentioned the challenge of the quality of assets and loans that we will be seeing, and that the opportunities that are bound with lending, the lending space is there, and of course the regulatory unveiling of the monetary and fiscal policies that the government is looking at. But you also gave your insight in terms of innovation and how you see that collaborations will come to play within not only the banking and others, but banking and the fintechs, and how increasingly we need to be aware about the increase in demand for what we are going to be looking at in terms of KYC, and how we would probably be automating that. And of course, you talked about innovations around and creativity around the direct debits and the virtual cards and exchanges. Maybe more of contactless will start happening. And then also reliability of platforms, which would be very key. But you gave a caution to us all that we need to also be mindful that as all of these things are unfolding, the issue of fraud and the issue of cybersecurity should be paramount in terms of our planning for 2024. Thank you so very much, Yinka, for sharing all of this. So please keep dropping your questions in the chat group while we try and accelerate these sessions. Next for us, so we have looked at the payments section, we've looked at the banking section, and now we're going into to look at the fintech in itself, fintech and fintech. And we have with us Tomi Badejo, who is the head of strategic projects at Now, and he will be sharing with us in retrospect how he saw 2023, and then into the future tricks and trends that you would want us to be aware of and would want us to look out for 2024. So take it away, Tomi. You need to unmute. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you confirm if you can see?
Yeah, we can see your slides, but would be helpful. Yeah, presentations. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, so thank you very much. I'm Tomi. I head strategic projects and operational excellence for Now Digitals. And it's a pleasure to be here and be invited by Fintech Nigeria to speak on 2023 in retrospect and the outlook for 2024 concerning fintech. So let's take a dive back and look at the retrospect in 2023. 2023 was a year where we saw a lot of strong economic headwinds, and we saw this in geo-economic conflicts. We saw a number of countries at war: Israel, Gaza, Russia, Ukraine. We saw high interest rates in 2023. And most importantly, the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. And the downfall of the SVB impacted the whole fintech ecosystem. This played out in three major ways. First, the investor confidence plummeted, and this led to the shutdown of startups globally, and ultimately it aggravated the fintech winter. And in my own assessment, the major impact is the dwindling investor confidence. And we see this play out in the amount of global venture capital investment that came into that we had available globally. Year on year, we've been seeing a 30% reduction from the previous year in terms of global capital ventures and investments. And last year, we saw a 36% decline from 2022. Bringing it home to Nigeria, Nigeria also had its own fair share of challenges. And as the speakers before me had mentioned, the very obvious one, the demonetization drive. And this revealed a lacuna in our system when we found out that our infrastructures could not just support the desired scale and the ambitious financial inclusion drive we were trying to push in the year 2023. So there's a huge gap there in terms of infrastructure and opportunity to improve on that as well. As the speakers before me has also rightly mentioned, we saw a lot of undulating frictions in the FX policies that we had in 2023, and then a reduced FDI, foreign direct investment, as well in Nigeria. You know, when we look at Africa generally, on aggregate in Q2, we had an inflow of 189 million in terms of capital raised in Q2. This was a reduction of 64% from the same year in 2022. However, it's not all gloomy, as you may suppose. In 2023 as well, Nigeria was the most active fintech market in Africa, and we had 25 deals of what was on the table, and 42% shares of deals in Q2 2023. So I think Nigeria is doing something good. We're rightly positioned, and we have value to bring to the table. So what's 2024 outlook looking like? There are some global trends I'd like to highlight, things that we can look out for in the year 2024. And some of these have been mentioned. One of these I'd like to speak about is decentralized finance, DeFi. And this basically, in summary, just something simplified. This is just speaking about a code, some body of code that removes the middleman and allows individuals, merchants, businesses to carry out financial transactions using the blockchain technology and also peer-to-peer network. We've heard about open banking, and to just simplify this as well, open banking is speaking of me as a customer. I tell my bank, I want you to share my information, my financial data across other financial platforms, across other banks, and in a secure way, conveniently for me. And once this is fully implemented, we'll see that there will be more innovation in the ecosystem. We're going to see more competition and then more customer-centric services. We've also heard about generative AI, and many of us on this call use ChatGPT, I suppose. We're going to see more of this in personalized finance. We're going to see this play out in fraud detection, credit scoring, risk assessment, and the likes. Also, one thing to look out for is cross-border payments and real-time settlements. And to my most interesting part is customer centricity. Now, this is speaking about the voice of the customer. The voice of the customer needs to be amplified in 2024. And basically what we are saying here is that value to the customer is most important. We should build customer-centric solutions. And that is why at Now, this concept changed the way we thought our product offerings. And we positioned ourselves to build out solutions that were customer-centric in our lending product, in our merchant services and consumer apps. I'll say you should check them out. Really cool products that we built. In 2024, for Nigeria, I would say that, yes, there are many cool things happening globally, as I just showed in the previous slide, but we have more fundamental issues in Nigeria. One of which is the low financial literacy. There needs to be more sensitization done to the general populace in picking up more digital financial options. The regulator and operator collaboration needs to be strengthened. And I'm going to say at this point, kudos to Fintech Nigeria for the Regulator Forum, if I got Regulator Forum. We need to see more of this collaboration between the regulators and operators involving the directors. And this is going to be for the betterment of our ecosystem. And also, Nigeria we need real financial inclusion. And the reason I'm emphasizing the real financial inclusion is because we need to get more people into the net. I'm going to make it very basic. We need more data. We need data in the hands of more people. We need smartphones in the hands of more people. This is really where we see real financial inclusion. And in our ecosystem, we have this cliche of saying we are building financial inclusive products, but our products are just restricted to Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. We need to do better and do more. So what can we do better? I'm going to start by saying we should stay true to our core. And I'm speaking to fintechs. We should stay true to our core. I'll give an example. In my years of consulting for agile transformation and project management, last year I consulted for an organization, and I realized that 60% of what the engineering team had built added no value to the business as a whole. And this is because most fintechs are susceptible to just rolling out sprints, just building new and cool features. But what then is staying true to our core? I would say it's building solutions that solve real problems in our ecosystem. Cost efficiency. We need to learn to do more with less, basically. This was already hammered on by previous speakers. And then this is an interesting concept that I would like to see come to the light of the strategic mergers and acquisition. And just on top of this, it's important that in our space, we see more healthy competition and collaboration, right? Just this morning, there was a news with OPay partnering with InterSwitch on payment gateway services. We need to see more of that. And finally, easy capital and unbridled growth are things of the past. There isn't, in local colloquial parlance, there is no free money anywhere, right? So now the focus has to be about building practical solutions, profitable business, and adding real value. And at this point, I'll end my presentation. I hope I didn't do over 7 minutes, but thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tommy. So thanks for that. You were smack on time. I'm very happy with the speakers today. They are giving us perspectives from different points of view. He says the advice for fintech companies: stay true to your core. So don't be a me too kind of organization. Look out for cost efficiency. He's talking about strategic M&As, just like OP and InterSwitch did this morning. And then his own advice is there's no free lunch. So investor eyes are wide open. Those that will partner with us and who will collaborate with us, their eyes are also wide open. So thank you so very much for Tommy for sharing all of those with us. We would now be moving on, and we have OT, who will be looking at really investments, from the investment point of view. He would be giving us in retrospect what he saw that went on last year, and also OT is an investment principal with Alethea, and he has had over 15 years of experience in the private equity, financial advisory, consulting, and technology space. In the last 7 years, he has led investments in various sectors, including technology, agriculture, energy, power, and manufacturing. And he has previously worked with Amazon, Ernst & Young, and PwC. We're glad to have you here, Oti. Please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kerry. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you, Fintech Nigeria, for hosting this session. I think all the speakers have touched on quite a number of things that I was looking to touch on as well. I particularly like Tommy speaking to the fact that investors are now a lot more and I'm a lot more circumspect as to, businesses, and are really looking at, things other than growth, before making investment decisions. But I will start off by speaking to the investor environment for last year and where I see it going in 2024, particularly as it relates to fintech. So, as all the speakers have stated, and said and have articulated the differentiations. So, from last year was quite tough from a funding standpoint. So investors pulled back funding in all sectors, and particularly the fintech sector felt it the most, primarily because over the last 4 years, I would say between 2019 and 2023, there was significant investor interest, both local investors and investors from across the globe in the fintech industry in Nigeria and Africa, but particularly in Nigeria. Nigeria led the way in the years leading up to last year in terms of African countries that received the most funding in the fintech sector. But last year, again, like I mentioned, was quite tough, where Nigeria fell to fourth, at least in the first half of the year, relative to South Africa, Kenya, and Egypt, with Egypt leading the way actually on investments coming into the continent in the financial technology space. So the question is why? I think from an investor standpoint, a number of things led to this pullback. One being, to Tomi's point, a lot of fintechs didn't stick to their core. I think the investor sentiment was that fintechs it became a trend. So you have businesses who don't have or who haven't achieved product market fit, coming to fundraise. You had also a focus on growth as opposed to profitability from even businesses who have product market fit, who were able to grow, but they didn't really focus on achieving sustainability and solely focused on growth. You also had businesses or fintechs who had whose valuations were, for lack of a better word, ridiculous and weren't based in reality. So all that, coupled with rising interest rates and all the other macro factors that all the other speakers have alluded to, led to the pullback that we experienced in 2023 in the fintech space. Also, and let me speak directly as it relates to rising interest rates. What that essentially did was it led investors to start thinking about more or safer investments, for lack of a better word, where investors are more focused on risk mitigation and viewed fintech businesses as too risky vis-a-vis other safer securities that offered significantly higher interest rates on the debt side. So for 2024, there are a number of things that we see from an investor perspective. One will be the structure of investments I see will continue to evolve. In the past, you had investments, particularly in the venture capital space, really go into these companies as structured as equity, meaning if anything happens post your investment as equity, you get burnt as an investor relative to debt investors. So now what I expect to happen in 2024 is that the form and the structure of investments are going to continue to evolve, where you're going to have investors deploy capital into these businesses, into fintech businesses, in the form of quasi-equity. So what that essentially means is you invest in debt-like instruments and you keep your upside just in case the businesses actually perform, and you convert your debt to equity with an interest rate or a coupon. So you're going to be seeing, we're going to expect more of those sort of structures to come into play. And that then leads me to the sort of the verticals within the fintech space where I anticipate that more investment is going to be driven towards. I'd say from last year leading up into this year, we saw a rise in fintechs, or in fintech adjacent businesses, like I like to call them, offering embedded finance. So there was quite a rise in embedded financing. So this is companies who are embedding lending or financing within their core business, and some of them even becoming lending institute, almost becoming lenders indirectly. So I expect to see that trend continue in 2024. And based on that, I think that could be quite interesting from a partnership standpoint, where you see companies that were not originally viewed as fintechs becoming or incorporating financial technology in their service offering. And this also will lead to greater financial inclusion. So investors, particularly investors focused on investment in Nigeria and Africa, still are looking to improve the financial inclusion within the country. And fintechs who are able to tie in their product offering with improvement of financial inclusion are going to see an inflow of investments. Also, companies that are offering compliance and regulatory technology are going to certainly attract further investments this year. The CBN, as the other speakers had spoken to, has certainly shown that there's more focus on compliance, and particularly as it relates to fraud and the detection of fraud, and of course the use of generative AI and machine learning to not only detect fraud, but to also determine, say, credit-worthy borrowers, amongst other sort of services. So companies and businesses that are offering, particularly in the RegTech space, I see there to be more investment going into that space. Also, fintechs that are able to begin to monetize this data and data analytics. Over the years, fintechs have alluded to the amount of data that they're able to gather in their product and services and how this can be monetized. But we haven't seen that borne out. I expect more focus to be on that this year. And as companies have been forced to run more lean and to focus on their core, I expect that innovation will certainly increase this year within the fintech space. Another thing that I believe we will start to see is consolidations. I think the unofficial speak within the investor community is that we have a lot of players in the financial technology space in Nigeria and in Africa, and ultimately for there to be quote unquote winners, some will have to merge eventually. So I think you're going to see in the investors are also going to focus on orchestrating where they deem where possible consolidations, at least one, and also strategic partnerships that could potentially lead to consolidations. So ultimately, I think again, I expect the investor appetite for investments in the fintech space to increase in 2024 relative to 2023. I expect that it will still be dominated by funds and investors who understand Nigeria and Africa and will be investing in this space. I still expect there to be a pullback from foreign investment, foreign being primarily investment from investors in the US and Europe. I think you're going to see more investors from Asia also dip their toe back into the market as it relates to investments in the fintech space. But my final, I guess, advice would be for fintechs this year would be to continue to focus on cost optimization, continue to focus on a path to profitability if you're not profitable already, and ultimately, to quote Tommy, there's no free money. Even if there was, there's no free money anymore. So investors will be looking to innovation, or your ability to innovate, to cost optimize, and ultimately to grow a sustainable business for there to be more money deployed into the fintech sector in 2024. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you. For sharing that perspective, and we have had perspective from different sectors, and all of this relating to fintech in itself. But from your investors' standpoint, you were able to, share with us what you thought was occurred in 2023 and the why. You identified that it was really a tough year. From the funding standpoint, we also spoke about how fintech funding has fallen year on year, between 2019, 20 to 2023, and the kind of global interest that has reduced, but particularly in Nigeria for half year, we fell off the number one spot that we originally held, with even Egypt going way ahead of us. But I took a look at the Africa Tech Venture Capital report that was shared by Mr. Brymo this morning on the platform, and it seems as if we're climbing on back up. We had they say the big four, but now out of the big four, Egypt, Kenya has gone back, has slipped back in terms of we're able to do in share equity deals last year, which means that we are, your predictions are right, that things are going to be inching up from here on. But then you also shared with us why you thought that investors we're being very sort of risk averse because of the fintechs didn't stick to their core. That is the second speaker that is saying so. So in terms of product market fit, in terms of growth versus profitability, they're looking more at growth rather than profitability. And you also cautioned that one of the things that investors started to do was to look elsewhere in trying to ensure that they make sure that they mitigate certain points of view. For 2024, your predictions for 2024 was that the structure and form for investments will evolve, and that we would move from the past, where we're doing full equity, to quasi-equity, and to look at more debt instruments that would help us, hedge in terms of any issues. The lending trend, you talked about the lending trend, and the fintechs service offerings, and how the investors are going to be looking at that. You also spoke to us about the financial inclusion, and that companies that tie their products to some sort of service on financial inclusion would look at be very successful in 2024. You also talked about RegTech, which is now becoming very interesting for a lot of investors. The RegTech, in terms of like CBN, is focusing on fraud, and more of the RegTechs that look into more providing more services around this would also make some difference. You also talked about monetization of data and data analysis, and how there will be an increase in innovation and consolidation between fintech companies that may be able to merge their services and therefore provide a unique front. So strategic partnerships and consolidation is something that we need to be looking for. And as a last advice, you also said that there'll be a lot of focus on cost optimization and profitability. And back to the same thing, there's no free money out there. Thank you so very much. And this is the end of the first session. And so I want to select maybe like two. I think the speakers are still here. So we want to like maybe Chinwe has had her own bit, but I'll select one because of time. One question for Yinka, one for Tomi, and then one for Uti, if one is there. So let's go back to Yinka. I think you had a question. Yeah. I saw your question, but
there are a couple.
Something, I can't find it for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Zainab says you should please speak about the issue. Oh, it's gone again. Can you, did you read that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So if you can paraphrase it and then maybe just address it. It's gone again from my
she's wanting to know how
the issue of recapitalization in the banking sector.
Sure.
Already the banks are, yes.
And I think that knowing how conservative this profession is, I have to be careful not to quote my regulator when they've not made an official statement. For sure, we really don't know what exactly recapitalization would mean and how that would play out. There's only just been a statement that recapitalization is on the table. So there's not a definition of what that would mean. I think the regulator have also said that none of the banks is really that exposed at this particular point in time. So I think that there might also be a situation where obviously there will be a timeline given. So again, people will be able to either take strategic decision about what that means for their business, or whatever it is. Interestingly also, I think a sizable part of the industry does have some significant buffer, so to speak. So I don't think that whatever it is that will be done will create that immediate shock, as it were. But again, I think that these are all speculations, because the regulator has not necessarily said this is the way they want to approach recapitalization. But I think that whatever the regulator is going to do will be such that it doesn't present any form of systemic risk whatsoever, and will be anything but everything to strengthen the sector, as it were.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. There's a question for Tomi. Tommy, is Tommy still on? Yes, he is. Are you worried about the increasing number of fintech offerings that are similar? They are offering similar products. And do you think this will reduce the importance of fintech in the industry?
Thanks for that question, Yemi. In terms of being worried, I think the market size is really large when we talk about product offerings. And as I said in my presentation, for instance, most fintechs are concentrating their efforts in just Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, but then the market size is larger than that. When we're talking about financial inclusion, we're looking at outskirts, the northern part. We haven't explored that part fully. We're looking at southern east. We have more areas to explore. So I would say, yes, there's a bit of saturation in the commercialized area, Lagos, as I said, Abuja and Port Harcourt, but then there is more opportunity outside these places. So I don't think fintech is going anywhere in terms of being extinct, because it's the new way of living. It's just technology infused into the way we carry out our financial transactions, and that's the future. So fintech wouldn't be extinguished or extinct, but we're going to see more transformation in that space. Yeah.
Some evolution and innovation coming up in the fintech sector. Thank you, Oti. I would also want to take one question for thank you, Tommy. One question for Oti. Oti, is this still here? Okay, yeah. The question is, why do you think there were a number of high-profile failures of fintech companies that had already successfully raised capital of funds, and then they started failing? What do you think is responsible for those high-profile failures?
That's a loaded question.
Just in 30 seconds or 1 minute.
There are a number of reasons why. One will go back. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, back, yeah.
Okay, so I said that's a loaded question because it's unique to some situations. Some situations of failure were unique to those companies, but I would say it goes back to my earlier point on a focus on, or too much of a focus on growth as opposed to sustainability and optimizing costs, and really being focused on this path to profitability if these businesses were not profitable already. So what happened was a number of these businesses that failed didn't expect that the funding environment was going to tighten, or even if they thought it would tighten, not as tight as it eventually became. So they were less focused on their runway and more focused on looking to grow their top line. And what happened was the tight funding environment had an adverse effect and eventually led to the failure of a number of these businesses, where they even some who had already gained product market fit and who were really growing in the market, unfortunately just ran out of cash. And that was due to, again, poor planning as it related to cash preservation and not managing costs properly and all the other things in which I've spoken to. Some where some of these businesses were just not run properly, but I would say for the most part, it really was around an inability to preserve and manage cash.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. We would quickly then now look at two other parts of the sectors, which is insurance and then technology, and then we would round up. For this afternoon, we have with us Dr. Fumi Bamintin Ashaye, who is the MD, CEO of Risk Analysts Insurance Brokers. She is a distinguished insurance professional with nearly 4 decades of experience, formerly the MD of Cornerstone PLC, Nikon Insurance, and holds fellowships with the Chartered Insurance Institute, London and Nigeria, and the Institute of Directors of Nigeria, along with an MBA from the prestigious Lagos Business School. Mrs. Dr. Babington Ashai. I hope I pronounced it right.
Yes, you tried. You tried.
Okay. Over
Thank
to you. Your 7
very
minutes
much.
starts.
Thank
Yes,
you
thank
very
you,
much for that introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to share my perspectives on Insurance Outlook for 2024. Insurance sector in retrospect. The global insurance industry in 2023 was shaped by increased risk awareness, technology adoption, and persistent inflation. Trends like booming AI and cloud use emerge along with concerns about cyber threats and a volatile geopolitical landscape. Economic challenges and inflation also affected in 2023 demand for insurance. Foreign exchange issues also affected the value of assets insured, and the prices of insurance went up in 2023, especially in Nigeria. Although insurers demonstrated remarkable strength, adjusting operations and managing risk to maintain profitability and financial stability. Unfortunately, new risks also emerged last year in areas of climate change, kidnap and ransom, and geopolitical uncertainties. All these pose significant risk to our society. And navigating this complex landscape requires agility, creativity, and a keen awareness of the emerging opportunities. By prioritizing innovation, problem solving, and a balanced focus on short and long-term goals, the insurance industry can not only survive, but also thrive in a rapidly changing world. I will quickly move to opportunities in the insurance sector in 2024. The untapped market segment, particularly in emerging markets, just like in Nigeria, with low insurance penetration, represent significant opportunities for insurers by targeting underserved population and crafting innovative products tailored to meet the specific needs. Insurance can expand the market reach and serve a wider customer base. Also, microinsurance and financial inclusion stands out as crucial avenues for industry development by providing affordable and customized insurance solutions to individuals with limited financial resources. In addition, the insurtech sector is anticipated to experience a surge in mergers and acquisitions, offering insurers opportunities to enhance technological capabilities and stay at the forefront of market trends. Also, international partnership and collaborations will play a pivotal role in fostering knowledge exchange, promoting innovations, and enabling insurance to extend their global presence. These are some of the things that will shape the insurance industry in 2024. I'll quickly talk about AI and fraud in the insurance sector. AI's integration into the insurance sector holds promise for improving fraud detection. We all know the issue of fraud in our industry through advanced analytics and machine learning. This can enhance the industry's ability to prevent fraudulent activities efficiently. However, challenges include the potential risks of attack, where fraudsters manipulate AI systems. The issue now has to do with balancing between leveraging AI's benefits for robust fraud prevention and addressing vulnerability, which is also very, very important. So what are the benefits of AI to the insurance sector? Of course, technological advances, which can transform the whole industry. Also, technical areas of the industry like actuarial and underwriting processes will be streamlined, freeing up underwriters for high-value tasks and improving risk selection. Of course, claims processing will be seamless once it's automated. It will also enhance marketing and customer service, human resources and workforce training, and overall efficiency and insight generation. Talking about the potential risk in the insurance sector. Of course, ethical concerns such as data misuse, privacy concerns, impact of outdated AI models and data breaches, balancing human expertise and AI recommendation, and eroding trust. AI biases can erode trust. AI integration in insurance presents vast opportunities, including personalized policies and efficient claim processing. However, careful navigation of this technological landscape is essential to avoid potential pitfalls. Ethical concerns such as data misuse, opaque decision-making, and AI biases can also erode trust and lead to unfair outcome. So what should players do to scale in the insurance sector this year, 2024? Of course, the need to embrace technology and data cannot be overemphasized. By integrating artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data into insurance operations, this will enhance efficiency and decision-making, from underwriting to claims processing, fraud detection, and personalized product development. These technologies offer tailored solutions. For instance, AI system can analyze customer health data, and also in area of motor insurance, driving habits will enable personalized auto insurance quotes, the premium. To further enhance customer experience, insurers should implement personalization through developing mobile app, which we have quite few in the market presently, online portals, and chatbots for a seamless process from purchase to claim filing. Adopting an omni-channel approach by integrating online and offline channels ensures consistency and convenience for customers. Exploring growth in emerging markets, developing microinsurance products, and targeting underserved population create avenues for expansion. Most importantly, building partnerships and ecosystems, collaborating with other insurers, and engaging with technology companies and startups will also foster innovation and operational efficiency. Addressing climate change risk through development of resilient infrastructure, advocating for mitigating policies, and prioritizing cyber security measures we ensure responsible and sustainable insurance practices.
Yeah.
In conclusion,
Okay.
insurance industry is optimistic about 2024 with alignment with societal needs and building genuine partnerships and collaboration. The industry is set for growth, innovation, and strategic collaboration, positioning itself for continued evolution and success on global stage. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much,
I've not done more than 7 minutes.
You
Thank
tried to
you.
squeeze it, but it's okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much for
much. Thank you.
for sharing your views on insurance. A lot of people do not pay attention to insurance, and like you identified, in emerging markets, this is a trend. But it's important that as we go into, particularly for the fintech area, and we're going into the new evolution of emerging trend technologies, we should start paying attention to insurance. One of the things that you spoke about in terms of looking back at 2023 was insurance risks, the tech adoption, low tech adoption, and the high tech adoption in the insurance sector, and also inflation. You highlighted the increase in cyber threats, the geopolitical landscape, and of course you talked about AI also, and the cloud, which you mentioned further down in your presentation. You also highlighted the issue of FX and how it's affected the players in the insurance sector, and how the insurers had to sort of try and manage all of the risks that came to them. You talked about the new risks that you're saying, geopolitical risk, the cyber threats, and that AI, that these were three main risks that are new and are coming up more in 2024. The opportunities for the insurance sector, you looked at the untapped markets, particularly in emerging markets, the low insurance penetration, particularly also in Nigeria, and you highlighted the macro insurance of financial inclusion. Financial inclusion has been a topic that has been consistent today by all the speakers. And so the fintech organizations that are looking within that direction to take note of that. You talked about InsurTech and how there will be a surge in the measures and acquisitions, and with enhanced technology. You also spoke to us about international partnerships and collaborations, and how a lot of the insurance companies are going to grow into the global market. Ever so often, certain industries pivot into the global market, like we have previously seen with entertainment, and also now, more importantly, the insurance companies are following suit. You specifically went down to drill down on AI and fraud, and that there will be risks of attacks on AI systems. You also spoke about the opportunities that are bound with AI and insurance, and how technology companies are going to, insurance companies are going to leverage on technology to streamline and automate a lot of their processes, and the HR and the workforce. More importantly is the issue of ethical AI and AI biases when we are building and modeling all of these AI models in themselves, and how we are supposed to be cautious when we are teaching our AI, and how to avoid building in some biases, because AI biases will erode a lot of trust in the users. You also said to insurance companies to try and ensure that they incorporate AI in their processes, and also in the automation of their mobile applications and their their different platforms, and also the issue of collaboration and growth within the insurance sector. Thank you so very much, Doctor. Just hang around. Let's take our last speaker. Then we'll come back to 1 or 2 questions, and then we would round up. Thank you so much for sharing. And for our last speaker for the day, sometimes I don't like speaking after maybe 1 or 2 people, but today has been really very different. You will see that from all of the speakers, we are having different perspectives, and a lot has gone on in 2023. If we look back at all what everyone has said, and a lot more to come in this year. For our last speaker of the day is Mr. Now. We are going to have a problem.
I can help though.
Oh, yes, please help me. Yeah, you can help me, please, because I've been biting my tongue, but I can actually say it's Mr. Beye. Is it Beye? Beye?
Yes,
it's
absolutely,
Beye.
absolutely.
What's your first name? How do you pronounce your first name?
It's Usainu. Usainu Bey.
Usainu Bey. Usainu Bey. He is the senior solutions architect at Amazon Web Services, and his primary focus is on the sub-Saharan Africa. It's good for you to be here, and we are glad to have you here. And you're just diving into from where Dr. stopped, because she talked about ethical and AI biases. And so take it away. We see you're going to speak to us today about generative AI. So much that so much noise about it is going on everywhere. So please share your 7 minutes.
Sure, indeed. And hi, everyone. So my name is Usainu Bey, and I'm a solution architect at AWS. I've been with AWS for over 5 years now, and I look after customers in West Africa. So right now, mainly I'm focused in Nigeria and Ghana. So like listening to like all the speakers, I think if not all, almost all have mentioned generative AI. So I think like we are not very off if we see generative AI as being really changing all type of customer interactions and applications going forward. So I have 7 minutes, so I try to be mindful of the time. So what I want is first a quick overview of what is generative AI, and then talk to you through few use cases of generative AI in financial services. And then if I have the time, talk to you about Amazon solution for it. So yes, so generative AI is a type of AI that actually creates idea and content. And it does it like including conversations, stories, image, video, and music, and so on. But the particularity is that it is powered by a large model that are pre-trained with large amount of data. And actually these models are referred to as foundational model. And the specificity of foundational model as compared to sort of classic machine learning models are twofold. It's the size and then the sort of general purpose aspect of foundational models. So what are some of the use cases that we see in the financial sector? So they are in sort of 3 buckets. So the first one is to improve the interactions, like the internal and also external customer experience. So you can think about chatbots. I think everybody knows about ChatGPT. So in terms of getting answers, summarizations, and also like the capability of having also call center assistant, and also the ability to be able to understand customer issues by doing summarization of, for instance, customer interactions, and also being able to query customer interactions using, I would say, natural language. Another bucket is to increase the efficiency of knowledge workers and also to automate processes. So for instance, like creating draft, for loan documents, for instance, helping you with the RFI, RFP, business correspondence, for instance, and also developer productivity. And actually, we've benchmarked that internally here at Amazon, and we see that developers that are using generative AI are 30% more efficient. And one of the bucket also is product innovation, market surveillance, and commentary and sentiment. So like you can create new solutions such as, for instance, stock screening using natural language, and also being able to leverage create structured data from unstructured data. So like you might have emails, like document repository that are sort of a treasure if you know how to leverage those. So that's also some of the capability that our financial services customers are looking for. So what are also some specific consideration that the financial sector needs to take into consideration? So first of all, generative AI is not solution for everything. So you need to understand like which type of solution would fit your business challenges. So depending on the deterministic aspect of the problem you are trying to solve, it could go from algorithm, classic machine learning, or also generative AI. Another aspect, looking at that time, okay. Another aspect also is to assess the risk. And I believe it has been also stressed by almost all the speakers in terms of the risk related to generative AI. So assess like, where are you going to use generative AI? Will it be internal versus external? Like how to manage PI also, and also looking at, it was mentioned also bias, but also hallucination, when the model will tell you something wrong, but confidently. So how to navigate those, and of course also filtering harmful responses. And the third aspect also that like financial sectors needs to like incorporate is monitoring the evolving legal and regulatory landscape. So we see like it's starting regulation around protection of intellectual property, and also like how are we managing copyright of data that has been used for training model, just to say a few in terms of what needs to be taken care of. So now just briefly, at Amazon, we have a solution that's called Amazon Bedrock, and it helps you actually accelerate the development of your generative AI application by helping you access those foundational models via API, which means that you don't need to host yourself the infrastructure. And also we give you access to a large variety of industry-leading foundational model from AI21 Lab, Anthropic, and so on. And also something that has been also stressed is the aspect of privacy. So like, how are we making sure that the data of the organization is not used to train the underlying foundational model? It's something also that we help you with. And also fine-grained security, because also you want people to get answer, I would say, regarding data that they have access to. So that's also something that we're helping you with. And also, if you know the AWS ecosystem, the integration with our other solution. So I think I'm on the 7-minute range. So these are a few links that I will even drop also on the chat if you want to go further. Thank you so very much for your attention.
I wrote SMU. You know what you just done? You sort of rounded it up, right? But you have also will be asking CEO if we can have a session for site to tell people about all of this AI. I think we deserve a workshop around this. There's a lot of noise, and there's a lot of people just chattering about it, not knowing what to do, how to do it. And I think a session for the FinTech Association will be worth it. And I think that there'll be a lot of people that would be interested in understanding not only AI, but also generative AI, low code, no code, all of those things, and how they can use it to increase the growth. I think Oti said I should mind myself, profitability of the business rather than growth. So yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. I think what you have covered in a nutshell is what is important to the financial services sector in terms of AI that is used in the internal and external customer experiences. It is used to increase the efficiency and knowledge of knowledge workers, and also to automate processes. It is used also in the financial industry sector to for product innovation, market surveillance, and commentary. I can't read my writing, and also considerations for the financial services sector, for them to be able to choose the right AI to use, and for them to use. He also said they need to consider the access to the risk related issues of generative AI, and it can be harmful. And then you mentioned about hallucinations, right? You talked about monitoring the evolving legal and regulatory landscape, because a lot of things are coming up and are evolving within this landscape, and which is new, and which we are, governments are trying to see how they can protect use of AI. There's ethical, the issue around ethical AI, and all of those regulatory policies and all. And last but not the least, you just threw in an advert for your company, which says you talked about the Amazon Bedrock. I mean, it's a good thing. So we know where to go when we want to look at the fundamentals. It gives us access to the fundamental AIs that have been used in the plant. We know where to go when we are looking at looking for how to resolve privacy issues. We know where we want to go when we want to look at AI and security matters. And last but not the least, what Amazon is known for, which is the integration of AI with all of the other models. Thank you so very much for that. We have 5 minutes left for this meeting, and we will be sharing the recording. In one minute, Doctor, I think we can round it up by having Doctor answer one of the questions that is here, and then Oseni, you take also one question in 1 minute, so that we can round up effectively at the top of the hour. Doctor, I think there's a question here. Is Doctor still around? I saw her peep just now. Is she still
yes,
around? Okay,
I'm very much around.
Okay. I think, there's a question from somebody that says, how can the insurance industries stabilize the use of AI in its business operations, especially in an area of cyber threats? We are aware AI is important, but also very risky for business operations. So if you can, in 1 minute, 30 seconds, try and summarize, because we have 4 minutes left, try and summarize a response for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, MC. How can the insurance industry stabilize, especially as it relates to cyber threats? The insurance industry is still evolving in Nigeria, so a lot of technology has not been put in place, and where they are put in place, people are still very skeptical, in adopting them. There has to be a lot of discussion around this, especially as it relates, to coming up with the insurance policies, that can assist both the operatives and also the public at large, so that they can see areas of collaboration and how, this can easily easily be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And in rounding up, I just want to thank everybody for being here today, and for all of the speakers who has given us serious perspectives about what happened last year in the various sector, which was payments, banking, in investment, insurance, and technology. And we also have had, I mean, my notebook is loaded, I'm glad I was the one summarizing today. My name is Yemi Carey and I run Hackabella, and it's a digital transformation company. I just thought to throw it in there because I didn't have time to introduce myself in the beginning. I think that two things, for those of you who are here and have not joined Fintech Nigeria, you can see how the association really tries to improve people in the sector. And then also I would want to say that I would like is Dr. Jemima still? Yeah. I was going to call in Dr. Jemima, who is a member of the board, the governing council, to give us the closing remarks for today. Thank you so very much, everybody, for joining us today, and I'll see you also as you join Fintech Nigeria. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Yemi. There's only a minute left, so I just want to encourage everyone to join Fintech Nigeria today. We're a body of 446 members, and slot 447 is ready exclusively just for you. Go to fintechng.org, and we look forward to bringing you on board. Just go online, just say become a member, and we look forward to having you. As you can see here today, we want to give a huge clap, so just give your claps, don't stop, to our speakers, to our participants, to our organizing team, and most of all, let's say thank you to Zenith Bank, Sterling Bank, Now, Fair Money, Network International, and Amazon for being our fantastic sponsors today. Thank you for contributing to the success of 2024 Fintech Outlook webinar. Join us again in our future engagements, and thank you so much. Back over to you, Yemi.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
We're still going to delay so that you can copy the links in the chat group. The links, how you can join, and all of the presentations. Some of the presentations are there, and contacts for all of our speakers. Thank you, people.
I believe, Dr. Obrima, if there's any time left, please, I will turn it over to you. I think he's fell off. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much. Here's to a year of innovation, growth, and success in all your personal and business endeavors. Thank you. Okay, he's back.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll get to you. We're going to let you have details of our future events, which we'll send to you shortly. Thanks for being part of this event, and have a great day.